Hello, and welcome to the podcast about Transformers comics, toys, and everything in between. I'm Onyx Prime with my two co-hosts here.
Hi, I'm Computron.
Hi, I'm Kilobyte.
Moving on with our comic discussion for today's episode takes us to IDW All Hail Megatron Volume 2. And as always, spoiler warning. So if you haven't read it already, we highly recommend you go back, read it, then listen to the podcast. Now, onwards. Both Computron and myself have read this series already, but this is Kilobyte's first time, and we are excited to hear his thoughts about the series. But before we dive into that, Computron, you know what to do.
Yep. So for the facts, the first issue or seventh of this series of All Hail Megatron came out February 4th, 2009. And the last issue of this volume, or the 12th in the series, came out June 24th, 2009. The writer was Shane McCarthy. The artist was Guido Guidi. I'm not sure. Okay. E.J. Su, Emiliano Santalucia, and Robert Dees. And the colors were by Josh Burkham, Chris Carter, Robert Dees, James Brown, and Felix Serrano. So, fun facts. Originally, Cup was going to be the Autobot trader directly due to Spotlight Cup. This idea was thrown out before Shane began writing number one because he thought Sunstreaker would be a more interesting and less obvious traitor. It certainly is less obvious when the guy isn't around until, number 7. McCarthy believes this level of trauma would have been serious enough to turn him into hate, and through the strain's credibility in light of Sunstreaker and Hunter's, demeanor and behavior in Devastation and Maximum Dinobots. In an effort to further explain the origins of Sunstreaker's abrupt betrayal and hatred of humanity, in the later All Hail Megatron issue 14 rewrites a crucial scene in Devastation to slant it to McCarthy's point of view.
Fair enough. Bum, bum, bum.
So spoilers on that. Sorry. It was also unclear why Megatron would need to use the European Union's nuke at all, since in Stormbringer revealed that the Decepticons already had enough nukes and other weapons of mass destruction to shatter whole planets. Perhaps this Megatron is as much of a lover of irony as other incarnations.
Makes sense.
Yeah. In issue 11, one early draft of this issue script, Roadbuster was meant to die when Megatron blasted him. No, not my Roadbuster. While it has been obliquely hinted at before, Cup's brush with insanity is finally acknowledged directly, though not in a way that is actually addressed the disconnect. Octane, like his Universe toy, now goes by the name Tanker.
Hasbro and their naming licenses.
That's so sad. Anyway, Mr. Kilobyte, do you mind giving us a short summary of these comics?
Will do. The tensions rise in the Decepticon ranks as they conquer Earth, while the Autobots try to outrun the swarm as they approach their final push into a new safe haven, Cybertron. This information was taken from the wiki.
Fantastic. So, we're going to jump right in. So, we start off with a flashback. The Swarm, which we learned was created by the Decepticons. I might have spoiled that in the last episode, but that's okay. Mindless beasts. What stood out to me here is that this is where we see a character development with Thundercracker. I remember the scene. He's like feeling guilty about these beasts and thinks that we should put them down rather than have them mindlessly run around and be in constant pain and kill things.
Was it implied that they were just like reused corpses? I'm sure I might have misinterpreted that.
They were, I think they said something like it's 3,000 failed experiments to make the perfect Insecticons.
I thought that was for Bombshell.
No, so it said like for every 1,000 Insecticons they made one good Insecticon, and they made 3,000 of them.
Oh, and then the
so that's why we only have 3.
Trailers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I like when Thundercracker kind of yelled at him, but I kind of feel like if anybody else were to yell at him, you would have met the cannon. But
right.
Yeah, I was just surprised. Like Megatron's like he had that kind of like a sad face on him, but like
Yeah,
he didn't shoot Thundercracker for like questioning him or anything. It was like, wow, okay, Megatron might have a heart here, guys.
what's a heart?
Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely shows that Megatron still feels for his like his empire, but he doesn't want people to suffer as much. But he's still willing to do what it takes for him to win. That's what it told me, but I could be wrong.
To achieve his
Yeah.
final goal of the United Cybertron that he wants.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is the little backstory for Bombshell and how he's produced. As he was
Him and
created
the
by Corman.
Decepticons. Yep.
Yeah.
On the flip side of things, for the Autobots in present day now, Ironhide thinks Mirage is a traitor and decides to teach him a lesson. While at the same time, Cup swears he is not the traitor as though. Killbite, at this point, I know we already said it in the fun facts. Who did you think was the traitor while reading this for the first time?
Oh, I wasn't sure. I was trying to kind of decipher it myself, and there were some hints that I could have picked up, but I wasn't really sure. I was thinking, uh, who was I think? I don't even know who I was thinking. I was trying to decipher it, but I didn't have any ideas because all their faces, they were all grumpy and angrily, so they weren't even looking at each other. So it was kind of like hard to tell who was like showing signs of, "Oops, I made a mistake."
Exactly.
You know, here's something weird. Like when I first read it, I don't know why I thought it, but you know, I feel like an idiot now for saying, but I thought it was B for a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
I thought it was B because of oh, why did I think it was B? I thought it was B because of I forgot why it was B. I had a reason to believe it was B, but I was also trying to play the devil's advocate, like they were gonna throw me a curveball, and I'm like, it might be B.
No, each character in here does something weird that makes you think it could be any one of them. That's what this entire couple issues told me. Is like, I don't know.
It could be anyone.
It could be anyone.
I did suspect a little bit of Sunstreaker when he's like defending Mirage, confronting Ironhide, but I'm like, it can't be him. I was in denial. I'm like, it can't be any of them. I thought maybe it was like a Decepticon that has the ability to change their appearance, kind of like what Shockwave does in animated, and Side Ways did in Armada. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it was probably something like that. Somebody just infiltrated the ranks, made themselves look at it as an Autobot, and then they left. And so I was like in denial. I'm like, it can't be him. It can't be him. Every time I saw a panel, I'm like, it can't be him.
We will see. I'm not going to spoil anything. Something like that later on, but I won't say anything else. Right, Computron?
Yes.
The results may scare you. Anyway,
This is like the clickbait. You're just
Yes.
giving me clickbait.
I am.
Well,
I am.
since we're with the Autobots, there's a very beautiful scene here as they like try to run away from the swarm because they, at this point, at the end, was it at the end of the other comic or at the beginning of this one? Optimus has been like brought back online, right? He showed up and he's inspired the team, and so he's like, we got to get out of here, and so they leave for a new safe haven, a new place that they can be far away. And so we have, I think it was Cup that had a trigger, or Drift had a trigger for the bridge to like block off the swarm.
Mhm.
But something happens and the trigger doesn't work. And so Perceptor steps up to the plane and he just picks up his dual pistols and without looking, he just shoots like a badass at the bridge. You see just this major explosion. It was beautiful.
That was
And
good
if you
stuff.
thought that's what took down Preceptor, no, he got outsniped.
By the
That's-
swarm.
Yeah, eventually he did, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, no, this scientist became scary, like they said in the last one.
I kind of wanted to go back to when Optimus kind of got brought back, because like when he got brought back, he sees the swarm, right? And he's like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'd rather fight them than do another cup drill. If that doesn't get your morale going, I don't know what to.
Right. Now I want to know what a cup drill is.
Probably rough.
I'm sure we'll find out eventually. So on the other flip side of things, back to the Decepticons, their morale's not looking as good as they were in the last volume. They've actually gotten a little depressed about winning. They're winning so much they got bored of winning. That sounds familiar. Anyway, we see, I think it's Refractor or a Decepticon. We'll put in a screenshot here, picking humans apart and saying they're making a mess and like they can't put them back together. That right there shook me for a minute. I was like, that's some serial killer sayings.
Yep, and what's sad was like if Hasbro had let the publisher or the artist actually draw the brutality, that scene would have been like 10 times worse.
Oh yeah. But also I would be there for it.
Yeah.
Every step of the way up is like, yeah.
But in that same scene, we see a familiar face trying to do the same thing he always does. Kind of try to create faction, try to take control, just trying to get in the memory cortex of other bots and try to persuade them to join his cause instead of Megatron.
Oh, who's that?
Well, it's always our friendly neighborhood Starscream.
Who could have guessed that? That's an amazing plot twist. Never saw that one coming.
No, right? Guys, did you know Starscream trying to betray Megatron? Gosh,
Yeah.
didn't
Crazy.
even see that one coming.
Crazy. That never happens. What an original idea.
But they do it kind of good, right? Like,
Yeah,
they do it kind of good, and then like they attack Megatron, right?
yes,
He got a couple.
We see some Megatron be Devastator, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, and like it gets more fun because he's just like more.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can take them all on.
You could take
And
them
what was pretty funny about that scene is like I enjoy Megatron explaining to Starscream why Devastator exists in the first place and that nothing comes as a surprise to him. Like he knows everything that's going to happen. Cue the Autobots. Literally the next panel. Cue the Autobots returning to Earth. Good stuff. Before I get more into the Autobots and Decepticons, I do want to point out a C plot, which is with the humans. We gotta talk about the humans. The humans decide to use an experimental weapon based on Cybertronian design to fight back the Decepticons. And all I want to say, poor Rumble.
Yep. Rest in peace.
He kind of kissed the big bazooka on that one.
The screenshot that we're gonna put on the YouTube version of this panel, it's not up to par with everything else.
Oh.
No, it looks like as if this is colored by someone else or drawn. Nothing against the artist. It just stands out.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, the art style shifts, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, I love Soundwave. He's my favorite Transformer, but this isn't the first time he's going to be devastated. Cue the clickbait.
Bum, bum, bum.
What we could talk about right now is who comes in to save the Autobots.
So Astrotrain yells at the Autobots. The cowards are running because they're obviously retreating, or what looks like it, in which our boy Cliffjumper retorts, "We're not running, moron. We're just making room." Giant mech fight. Omega Supreme enters and joins the battle. Player 4 has arrived. Or whatever we want to say.
Oh, yeah, the big boy versus the big boy. I wonder if the big boy is going to win this one.
My bet's on the big boy.
It's this is literally the Transformers version of a sumo fight. Like it's two
A little
massive
bit.
entities just going at it.
Yeah, these just salts of a beings just fighting it out. Good stuff.
I like that they just Omega Supreme just blasted off and just took him up into the air, probably up in space now.
Right, because Optimus like, hey, you're destroying part of the city. Can you take this elsewhere? And Omega Supreme just gives Devastator a big old hug and is like, okay, and then shoom.
Off we go.
You know, you know what they say: the bigger they are.
Harder they fall.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is where we see Roadbuster fighting with Astro Train, and he just rams him against the wall and says, "Ha, lightweight," which I found hilarious. And then Megatron blasts him in the chest.
The end.
Supposedly he was supposed to die.
Like,
I'm gonna
no.
be honest with you. I kind of wanted him to, but I mean, I love Roadbuster, but that's what the scene led me to. I'm like, oh, he dead. He dead.
Yeah,
Nope.
first time reading
Not-
this through, he sounds like he's dead.
That's the same cannon Megatron shot that broke down an entire tower. Don't tell
Yeah.
me he lives from that.
But Roadbuster has plot armor because he has to show up later.
Yeah, we have the records comic to
Yeah.
read. He has to be there.
So we witness another fight scene with Optimus and Megatron, and Megatron is explaining to Prime that the humans are just as bad as they are, and that they are willing to sacrifice their own kind just to kill a few Cybertronians. To me, it felt very much like that scene from the Dark Knight trilogy with the Heath Ledger Joker, and what he was trying to prove to Batman with the two cruise boats.
Two fairies.
Yeah, the two. It felt very Joker and Batman-esque. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure.
Because like it wasn't that the whole point. Is like, look, these guys, these beings aren't as good as you're trying to project them to be. They're evil as anything else in the world is evil, and well,
Yeah.
damn Spike.
Which is pretty much what Optimus would probably tell him. Is like, yeah, but that's not up to us to,
I like how that sets us up for Spike.
Yeah. Would you like to elaborate?
Clickbait, but we're gonna learn. You're gonna learn today, people, that we don't like Spike here. We don't like Spike.
No, you get a sense because he interacts with a few other humans and whatnot during his mission that he's not very. He doesn't have.
He's not empathetic like at all. Like,
No,
it's
he
just
doesn't have.
mission oriented.
Yeah, he's not. He's very blunt.
Yeah.
and he doesn't follow orders.
No, he does not. Does not. So, yeah. So this is where we meet Spike, right? That son of a.
The bleeps have come back.
Yeah, the bleeps have come back. I think Heximus must have left that over just over. We see Skywarp get upset with Thundercracker, and this is because out of his way to stop the bomb, just to stop the bomb going off and killing humans. Because Thundercracker's just like, no, I'm tired of this. Well, Skywarp didn't like that so much, and it.
Well, to give a little backstory on the bomb, real quick, the humans decided to nuke New York, but it
Yeah.
wasn't actually the humans' idea. It was the Decepticons, because Octane is delivering the bomb as if he was one of the
You mean
humans.
Tanker?
Yeah.
It's almost like they were deceiving. So good.
So that's where Thundercracker comes in and decides to, no, I'll take this away.
Yeah.
And he does it in like the most beautiful way ever. I'm gonna throw this thing.
Yeah, it felt very. I don't know if someone wrote this in their notes, but I remember seeing it somewhere. Felt very Iron Giant esque.
Yeah, or the Iron Man scene from the Atari invasion in Avengers.
Right. So, I guess I'm gonna talk about my one last point, and then you guys can do what you want. But a very sad thing we find in this one is, so we know Sunstreaker is no longer with Hunter, but we don't know where Hunter is.
Yeah,
We find out that Sideswipe finds a leftover Decepticon bunker with Hunter hooked up to all these machines all over the place and puts him out of his misery.
yeah, but like you remember in the beginning when Ironhide was too busy, I guess he was traumatized that it was Sunstreaker that was the traitor,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was Drift saying, "Well, the Decepticons couldn't have gotten the codes from Sunstreaker." He says there's another element at play, and like throughout the entire comic, you as a reader, if it's your first time, you're like, well, how did they get the codes? You know, Sunstreaker sure was a traitor, but how did they get the codes to crash the ship? Well,
Right.
lo and behold, it was the thing that was connected to Sunstreaker. I'm saying thing because he's not really human anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
he's not really around anymore either.
Nope.
Poor guy. Very sad.
And I believe that's the last time we will see Hunter. So rest in peace, Hunter.
Yeah.
And I think we need to, from here on out, on any YouTube video, put a death count or death counter in the upper corner.
Oh my
We
goodness. So you mean we gotta put the amount of deaths from the previous episode? Like I think you
Or
said
all the
billion.
humans that Thundercracker killed.
I'm not doing that.
Wait.
Thought we
Yeah.
were just counting Jazz's arm.
Yeah, we're counting Jazz's arm. That's on there for sure.
A poor arm.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Anyway, any other things?
Yeah, I thought it was very cool and intertwined that we see Hunter, of course, kind of be put offline. In the same comics, we see Sunstreaker sacrifice himself to blow up the bridge.
Yeah.
Kind of blow up all the charges and kind of keep the swarm at bay. So the ones that were linked together both sacrifice each other or get put offline in the same.
There's
Yeah,
that
that's very
harmony.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So something else that I found very funny is at the end, once the battle is over, we see Cup talking to one of the sergeants or the colonels from the army. And
Mhm.
so the colonel says like, "So outer space, huh?" And Cup is like, "Yep." And then the colonel asks him, "So what's with the cigar?" And he's like, "What's a cigar?" I thought that was very funny.
Right, which will come to play, I think, during the Spotlight comics that you're going to read next, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, that should
Yes.
be a good time. Anything
Yeah.
else?
I'm out of notes, man.
All right. Out of Rodstars, what would you all rate it?
I'll give this 104. I mean, it was a good conclusion for a two-piece.
Yeah,
I feel like I would give it a 5.
another 5. Right on. I would give it
Very
probably.
easy, please. Okay.
I'm gonna be harsh here. I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5.
And yeah, to me, it's not better than the first volume, but it's like a good conclusion that gives us enough cliffhangers for series to come.
Exactly. All right. No emails today, but if you would like to get in contact with us, you can send us an email at swervesbarpodcast@gmail.com. That's SWERVESBAR podcast@gmail.com. Kilobyte, are you ready to read Transformers All Hail Megatron Volume 3?
I am ready. It's gonna be plenty of short stories in that volume, so we'll be a little bit all over the place, but hope you like it.
During Raspinator his room, so Drake's talk become best friends. Yes.
Oh, you know what? I'm sure Kilobyte would love you to be there with him, Waspinator. In the meantime, Combitron and myself will be at Blur's place. If you've enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing. Thank you so much for listening. Till all are one.
All are one.
Till all are one.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Swerves Bar Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at Swerves Bar. If you're interested in more content, Try checking out the spin-off D&D series, Transform and Roll Out, Rise of the World Killers.